Of the King George County Board of Supervisors to order. I'm going to ask Ms. Feltner to lead us in invocation and Mr. Gregory to lead us in the pledge.
Would you pray with me? Dear Father, thank you for this county and for this board as they begin this new year. We thank you for their gifts of leadership and willingness to serve. Bless them as they address the issues before them and the decisions they will make. As always, we thank you for the service of the men and women in uniform, both here and abroad, who protect our freedoms that we may assemble here. Thank you for the blessings along the way in 2013 and those which will come in the year ahead. It's in your name we ask it all. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is to accept nominations for Chairman of the Board of Supervisors. So the nominations are open.
Mr. County Administrator, I nominate Mr. Joe Grzyka for Chairman.
Are there any other nominations? All in favor of Mr. Grzyka as Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And congratulations, Mr. Grzyka.
Thank you. Next order of business is the election of the Vice Chairman. Open the floor for nominations.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Mr. Howard for the position of Vice Chairman.
Second. Motions, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Chair votes aye. Congratulations, Mr. Howard.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is establishing a meeting schedule for 2014. That was provided in our package. Any problems with any of the dates?
My only recommendation, if the board would like to consider, the last couple of years we have not had a meeting the first Tuesday in July. I would recommend that we continue that.
I concur with that. Last couple of years, we've needed that from a budget perspective as well, to move that to the prior week,
Right.
the last week of.
We can do that
I think we took
depending
the
to
second week in June and moved it to, the
To-
second meeting in June and moved it out a week to
the
get,
24th.
I think that's what we did last year.
We could do that, and that would put us in better position for the budget. So we'd offer those two changes, moving the meeting of the 17th of June to the 24th and deleting the meeting of the 1st of July. We all in agreement with that?
The motion. Sean moved to adopt the schedule with the modifications as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next order of business is the adoption of our Code of Ethics, Standards of Conduct, and Rules and Procedures. They were in our package, and I saw no one emailing any other changes.
I move we adopt the Code of Ethics, Standards of Conduct, and Rules and Procedures as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. At this time, we'll recess the King George County Board of Supervisors and move to the King George County Service Authority Board of Directors. I'll turn the meeting to the County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Grzyka. The first order of business on the Service Authority meeting is to open the floor for nominations for Chairman.
Ms. Gooseberry, I nominate Mr. Grzyka for the position of Chairman of the Service Authority.
Any other nominations? All in favor of Mr. Grzyka, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Grzyka.
Thank you, Mr. Quisenberry. At this time, we'll take nominations for the position of Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Mr. Howard for the position of Vice Chairman.
Second. Any other nominations?
Yes, sir. I would like to nominate myself as the vice chair, since the customers of the Service Authority have not been represented in a leadership position for numerous years, and it's already evident that this board will not adhere to the traditional protocol of rotating the seats. I see no reason to continue that here with the Service Authority.
Do we have a second? Hearing no second. Any other nominations? All those in favor of Mr. Howard as vice chairman?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Howard, you're vice chairman. The next order is secretary treasurer. Traditionally, that's been, I believe, Mr. Kuzenberry.
I would move that it continue to be Mr. Kuzenberry.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any other nominations for secretary treasurer? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next item is the establish a meeting schedule for 2014. I'd entertain the same changes we made with the Board of Supervisors, being the meeting in June and deleting the meeting in July.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Adoption of rules and procedures. Again, they were provided for us in our package.
I move we adopt the rules and procedures as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We'll complete the rest of this agenda, and then we'll go into the wireless for the election there. At this time, any amendments to the Service Authority agenda?
Yes, sir. We will have a closed session pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3711A7 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel and staff considering litigation with Hazel Homes, LLC.
Okay. Motion to adopt that amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded to amend the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. This time, I open the floor for public comment for the Service Authority. Anyone wishing to address the Service Authority may do so at this time.
Is that the public as well?
No, it's not.
I thought you said, is this the public?
Trust me, they'll shame you.
This is public comment for the Service Authority.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. So anybody who wants to speak now can speak.
And this is the Service Authority.
Right.
Okay.
The Service Authority,
Stay
which
on
involves
topic.
the water bill, water debt, etc. The country fought a revolution because of taxation without representation. We have fiation without representation. None of you, except Mrs. Braybaugh, pay the water and septic. As Mr. Brooks frequently says, he has his own septic, his own well. And yet, you all very carefully eliminated the one person who could have represented us on the fiation, eliminated her from office. Why don't we have citizens on this board, some of the citizens who actually pay this? I do remember, Mr. Grazika, you're making the comment once, it's a fee, it's not a tax. I discussed it with my bank, and they said they didn't care. When I wrote the check, it came out of my account. I guess the only difference in a fee and a tax in King George is that fees, the four of you don't have to pay, but taxes you do.
Can we get your name, please?
Could you just give us your name for the record?
Coods Campbell.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll close public comment, bring it back to members of the board. Any member of the board have a report this evening?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
No report.
Thank you, and I have no report. Entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. County Attorney, any report?
No report at this time, Mr. Chairman.
You. This time we'll move to action items. General Manager.
This is the General Manager's report this evening.
Sir.
I actually do not have any items to report on, so there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick and complete.
Happy New Year.
This time we have amended the agenda for a closed session. Do we have the disclaimer to be read? Mr. Vice Chairman.
We're just going to do the motion for the closed session. Mr. Chairman, I move the King George County Service Authority Board of Directors go into closed session pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3711A7 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel and staff concerning the litigation with Hazel Homes LLC. Invite the county administrator, county attorney, and general manager to attend for purposes of consultation and discussion.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in closed session.
And I move the King George County Service Authority Board of Directors return to public session and certify that only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed sessions were heard, discussed, or considered.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Mr. Sisson, do you certify?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Ms. Bravo?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks? And Chair certifies. We're back in open session. Any other business to come before the board?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned until Tuesday, 21st of January. This time, I'll turn the meeting back over to Travis to bring us into the King George Wireless Authority Board.
Thank you, Mr. Gazika. I'll call to order the meeting of the King George County Wireless Authority. First order of business is open the floor for nominations for chairman.
Ms. Kuzma, I'd like to nominate Mr. Gazika for the position of chairman.
Second.
Any other nominations? All in favor for Mr. Gazika, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Gazika.
Thank you, Mr. Quisenberry. At this time, open the floor for nominations for vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Mr. Howard for the position of vice chairman.
Second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Need to nominate and elect the secretary treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Ms. Kuzma as our secretary treasurer.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Establishment of the meeting schedule for 2014. I'd propose that we do the same as we did for the Board of Supervisors with the two changes that we made.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Adoption of bylaws of the King George County Wireless Authority.
Chairman, I move to adopt the bylaws as presented.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
This time, open the floor to the for public comment for the Wireless Authority. Anyone wishing to address the Wireless Authority may do so at this time. Please introduce yourself before you make your comments. Thank you. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to members of the board. Any board reports?
I do, sir.
Yes, Mr. Bravo?
Last night I attended the Citizen Internet Group, and I am continually impressed with the depth of research, knowledge, and discussion taking place within this group. Their passionate commitment for working together for the betterment of our community is commendable, and I truly mean there is a wealth of knowledge in this group. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I think, as we get into the next couple of meetings on the Board of Supervisors side, we talked about forming a technology group that we can look at things beyond just wireless. I mean, like we've talked about, there's certain things we can do under the Wireless Authority, many more we can do under the Board of Supervisors umbrella. So I think that'll be a good lead into that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Since the sheriff is here this evening, if we could trouble him, a issue with the 911 calling using cell phones and wireless phones within the homes was brought to my attention, and I talked to the sheriff about it today. Sheriff, would you want to at least make a statement just so the community is aware, or would you rather not at this time?
Or could we do that at the Board of Supervisors at the Constitutional Officer Report?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think it's more appropriate there.
Sure, that's fine.
Any other members wish to report? We have the consent agenda. There is one.
I don't believe there was
I
one.
didn't think there was one. I'm catching up here.
So I
With that,
move we adjourn.
Second.
motion been made, probably second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. This time I'll reconvene the King George County Board of Supervisors meeting. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
This time I'll open the floor for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the Board of Supervisors may do so at this time. Again, please introduce yourself before making your comment.
Good evening. My name is Renee Parker. I live at 7144 Peppermill Road in the James Monroe District. I'm standing before you ashamed of the humiliating spectacle this board has become. It's incomprehensible to me that you've dared to deviate from this county's common practice of rotating the officers' positions, particularly when you have a colleague that has accomplished a great deal in the 2 years she's served. If the senior elected officials here tonight were doing the right thing, they would have fallen over themselves to nominate Ms. Brabo for the vice chair position. If the newly elected vice chair were doing the right thing, he would have passed on the nomination because he'd done enough research before being elected to know that Ms. Brabo deserved the position. Please be reminded that this is a board. While it might be nice for our sitting members to get along and play well together, it's not a requirement. If there's discord and animosity between the sitting members of this board, I invite you to take a look in the mirror and be honest about how much time you've put in to establishing a positive working relationship with all of your colleagues, vice how much time you've put into slandering their name and their work to anyone who might listen. It's time for all of you to stand by the promises you made when you were elected. You promised to serve the people of this county. Serve them. You promised to make decisions for the better of all in this county. Your actions tonight make it painfully clear that you have long forgotten your part as elected officials. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Hi, I'm Ramona Shields. I live in King George County. And I'm here tonight to speak about a zoning issue that's going to probably come your way. This might seem like the horse before the cart, but I'm here tonight to protest in lieu of all of the commercial property that is being zoned haphazardly and not really thought out thoroughly to the safety of the residents in and around Bayberry Estates. I live at 4470 Willow Tree Drive, which is in Bayberry Estates. There is an office development right in the entry, the only exit of Bayberry Estates. There is no light there. There is much traffic. There is much truck traffic. There's bridge, there's 2 states traffic, and now we have a wonderful Walmart and much more to come, I'm sure. I want to offer you a package in which I've prepared within the community of Bayberry Estates with signatures and letters and their concerns. I also want to offer one to Ruby here. I understand we have a town hall meeting coming up on Thursday, which I look forward to, and most definitely the Bayberry Estates residents are very, very deeply concerned about this rezoning issue. And the particulars are in the letter. Feel free to make copies, do whatever you need to do to read through it and understand it so that if and when it does come to your desk, that you understand how important this is to the residents of Bayberry Estates. Now, this is only one community of people. It's the oldest community, one of the oldest communities there. I've only been here for 4 years. I lived 7 years in Colonial Beach, and that was a complete disaster. I had my dream home, but the town was very toxic. And just coming in here tonight and feeling such animosity and energy, a negative energy, to this board kind of makes me very concerned that, you know, I went to a lot of effort. I caught a cold, I missed Christmas and New Year's just to get everything together so that when you do pop up and say, hey, yes, there's going to be a meeting and this is when it's going to be, that I'd be prepared and that the people of Bayberry would be notified of such. Because I do find there is a communication gap between the Board of Supervisors and the people in all areas. And water being, that whole water issue is something I'd speak to also, but I've got my plate full of other things right now. So what I'd like to do tonight is just offer this package up to you, and thank you for listening to what I have to say, and I'd like to invite any other Bayberry people to come up tonight if they have any concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Shields.
I'd like to thank the board for their time. My name is Howard Hunter. I am a resident of Bayberry. And we are very concerned about the zoning and the changes that are possibly coming. And I would just request that you very carefully consider all the possibilities and watch out for us, so we can't watch out for ourselves in these matters. And I'll trust to your wisdom. And thank you so much for your time.
My name is Mary Trout. I'm with the Shiloh District. My first part's going to be directed specifically at Supervisor Brooks and Supervisor Sisson. In this age of electronic communications, it's more important than ever that our local, state, and federal government officials act with ethics and honor. There are too many instances in our society that our elected officials have been less than ethical, and when this happens, it lets down our communities, our nation, and even our society as a whole. Often there is little that the electorate, meaning the voter, can do until these heinous acts come to light. And even then, the burden of proof is so extreme, it often allows the most corrupt to continue their selfish garb for power and money. Virtually every government organization that I know has its own web server with official email accounts for all its government officials, whether elected or not. Often, the only way a citizen can get inside information about their government officials' conduct and how they do their business is through the Freedom of Information Act. Private email accounts are exempt from this, so there is no way for the people to get a clear picture of how our government works. In many government organizations, it's illegal for any official, elected or employed, to correspond in any official capacity in a private email account. In many of our smaller communities, the law, policies, or standing operating procedures are slow to catch up with technology. In King George County, for example, Supervisor Brooke and Sisson, which have been elected, are conducting official business on a private email account, even as of 18:30 this evening. I checked personally on the website of the county. I am not saying that all email, if when acting as a private citizen, should be done in an open forum for all to see. But if the official business of the county should be stored in the electronic archives, if there is an historic event that needs to be recorded and broadcast, then it is stored on the county server for future generations to research. On the other hand, In the unlikely event that an elected official is less than honorable and all the business is done through the county electric server, then it is there for we, the people, to hold our elected representatives accountable. By using private email, they do not subject themselves to the same concerns with the Freedom of Information Act. With a private email, they simply provide what they wish, and then they delete what they wish. Being on the county server means they store all emails and search your emails and collect them to fulfill a citizen's request. Can we all stand up and say, boy, private email versus the county email? You bet. An intelligent mind shouldn't be an option. It should be a requirement that all supervisors use the county server. Transparency among some of our elected officials have been touted as an answer to some of the corruption, and I agree that it would be one method that we could use to reduce the likelihood of any official to stray from the people's business to his or own benefit. Official business on a private email account does not serve the voter, the people, the citizens, and let me remind you, the people who voted you in, meaning your boss, in any way and must be eliminated. Please spare me the speech of it was always done this way before. It's customary, it's traditional, it's non-verbally understood, etc. Those lame excuses are just that. I'm surprised that, but considering they are your boss, that the county attorney and the county administrator has perhaps not mentioned this to Brooks or Sisson for legal issues. But when one has to tell their employer things they don't want to hear, it might serve them best to be the yes man. And after hearing that there are a code of ethics for the board, I'm still trying to figure out how the public can get even a hold of that. And even so, there's no standard procedures for this board for meeting. Everything's customary. Who is going to be the chairman of the board? Well, it's traditional. And then again, it's not traditional because then certain board members decide to do what they want to do, excluding all the board members. It's the gain-up-bully approach. It's obvious. When your peers bring to your attention items that need to be corrected to do the right thing, some of the board members have a lot of internal reflection and housekeeping to do. Who rules the rulers, also known as the Board of Supervisors? Again, I will repeat, we the people, the voters. A statement some of you have forgotten. As I was told at the last meeting, you will not comment or give any feedback, and for now, that is your tradition. But I will be creating a new tradition of my own, that at every meeting, I will be here to observe who is doing what and why, and come re-election, perhaps there will be new faces on the board, regardless of how long some of you have served. And Mr. Howard, since you are new to the board and you do have a government county email address, I applaud you for that. So maybe, too, you can assist your peers in getting an official, legal email as well, considering you were able to do it so quickly. And another board, in which I have not been able to find anything for, is that on the county website, the board meetings, there's nothing recorded as of August 20th, 2013, over 4 months. Why is there such a delay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trout. Anyone else?
My name is James T. Johnson, and I'm from the Shiloh District. I have been attending supervisors meetings for a while now, and I was somewhat disappointed tonight that the Dahlgren representative was not appointed as the vice chairman. And the reason for that was the appearance of the protocol that I had been observing while attending the board meetings led me to believe that there was a specific protocol set among the board members. And I guess I had been attending these meetings probably 5 or 6 years, and there has not been a representative in that position from the Dahlgren district since I have been attending. And there's a lot going on in Dahlgren. And I thought that tonight I would see a Dahlgren representative in that position. Now, I have nothing against the folks that are there, but I feel that the folks from Dahlgren need to be represented well, too. I also am a member of American Legion Post 329 that is located in Dahlgren, Virginia. And that representative represents that post also. So I feel that Dahlgren was not well represented. I feel that the Dahlgren representative was overlooked. And I just want to let you all know that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to members of the board. Mr. Sisson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to congratulate you and Mr. Howard on your selection to chairman and vice chairman. And I would like to address all the comments that were made tonight.
No, you specifically.
First, I would start, ma'am, what I told you last time was that I would not address.
You've had public comment, and we won't have those outbreaks.
Ms. Trout, what I told you specifically last time is that I would not interrupt you during your comments or respond during your comment period, that when it came back to reports of members of the board, they may speak as they wish. So I'd like to address your comments first. They're not founded in truth. My email is a personal email account that I established prior to getting elected to the board. There are many people who use it, and changing that for those people who are accustomed to it is why I did not. I invested my own money in putting that together. My emails on that account are foilable, just like any other communication that I may use. You can shake your head, you can do whatever. That's the law. I've been here 10 years. That's simply fact. I mean, standing up and providing misinformation to rile people offers no value. To question my honor and ethics because I have spent my own money to establish an email account before I was ever elected to the board working King George County issues. I don't understand that to be an honor or ethical issue. You can reach me just the same on that. You can click on my email account off the county website. It's the same FOIA requirements. You have no idea what goes into what archives. That's my responsibility. I have a responsibility as an elected official to do that. I've been elected 3 times. I've stated every time what I stood for. I've stood by those principles, and I've acted according to those. And I've also told folks, the majority of the county, 98% during the last election, I've told the majority of the county that this is how I intend to operate. I am in the business of governance. We are here to govern. Representation is an important part of that. Governance is also an important part of that. And I have executed that, what I believe, very well over the last 10 years. You don't have to agree, ma'am. You certainly can vote as you see fit. I've not made a single decision on this board in terms of how it would impact a vote. I've done what I think is right for King George County. And you can either agree with that or not. But you're providing misinformation relative to this here. And I'll ask the county attorney to comment on that during his report relative to the FOIA requirements of my communication. But that's the sheer motivation. It was there before we had county emails. I invested in it. There are many people who use it, and changing that would be a change for them. You clicking on that link has no difference in whether that information gets to me I can get that email account anywhere. I was going to address the rotation comments that Ms. Parker brought up to start with. There's been no set rotation on this board for many years. I don't know if you understand that. I've been chairman and vice chairman 6 of the last 8 years. So that's I was chairman in 2007, 2010, and 2013. There are 5 members on the board. So if the rotation is there for every 5 members, all the 5 members to go around, you'd have to let me know what that is, because it hasn't been in place for many years. It's time for the facts to be presented here, folks. We're using misinformation to rile some folks. So I just want to make sure we understand that. And thank you for the comments relative to Bayberry as well. I think that's a little in front of what we know is going on. That's not even come to us in terms of we'll have an opportunity for a public hearing if there is a rezoning request that makes us to us there. So we appreciate the inputs from the folks who took the time to do that as well. Thank you.
Howard?
Mr. Chairman, I consider it an honor and a privilege to once again represent the James Monroe District on the King George County Board of Supervisors. I'm looking forward to working with the board to conduct the business of the county. I know we have an outstanding staff to assist us in whatever issues that come before us, and I suspect there will be some difficult ones. I also know we have outstanding employees to carry out the day-to-day functions of county government. I'm confident that working as a team, we will get a lot accomplished. I'm pleased to be back and ready to get started. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Bravo?
I have spent my term diligently working to educate myself on the issues of this county, showing that I am committed and involved while always seeking to understand the concerns of the citizens. I have always known that King George County is full of promise and opportunity, and it has been an extreme honor to serve my constituents on this board. However, tonight, I am for the first time ashamed by the actions of this board. It is upsetting to me to see petty differences continue to dictate votes, and I believe an embarrassment for the entire county. Tonight's vote indicates all the more how little you respect this seat, respect me, and the contributions that I have made to this board, and how little you respect the citizens that I represent. I was elected by the Dahlgren District, just like each of you was elected by your county constituents, and I have more than earned my seat as the chair or vice chair of this board. I cannot help but be disappointed in the decision made tonight, as I was hoping that the gentlemanly thing would be done. With all due respect, I cannot comprehend how this board could assume that the newest member of this board could be more informed or as well versed on the current issues facing this county than myself. As a former board member, I am sure he is as committed as we all are to the betterment of King George, and he certainly understands board procedures and processes. However, it has been 4 years since he last served, and in those 4 years, he has not been privy to certain reports, closed session discussions, and staff and board discussions regarding ongoing issues facing the county. I don't think it is too much to ask for an explanation as to why I was passed over in this rotation, considering that last January, Mr. Brooks sat here and explained to me how the rotation works, and told me that my turn would be this January. I know that people do not have to like each other in order to work together, but a dislike for one another should not lead to an environment where differences in opinions and ideas are suppressed, ignored, and disrespected. Often right here at this table, we've heard how differing opinions and viewpoints are a good thing, and debate is a part of the process. However, I am beginning to believe that this is not the case. I believe the actions taken tonight by the majority of this board will show to the community that standing up for what is right and in the best interest of all the citizens and the county may not always be this board's highest priority. Tonight's decision will directly impact all King George citizens, and I do believe it will not go unnoticed. Despite the actions of this board, I will continue in my service to this community and continue to work with this board to ensure that King George meets its full potential, never forgetting that it is an honor to serve.
Ms. Bravo. Ms. Brooks?
Thank you. Tonight, I would like to say that I had got several emails in reference to nominating Ms. Bravo, and I had shared with her and all the people that emailed me that I didn't have any problem nominating her if she had got a third vote. If she got the third vote, I would nominate her, but it was no use bringing it up if I knew it wouldn't go through, and I shared that with her as well as the people that emailed me. So, and so far as the email, Ms. Trout, your request for me to change my email, I talked to my IT person, and just like what Mr. Sisson said, a lot of people contact me on that email. I received about 3 or 4 emails this weekend about Ms. Brabo. Everybody contacted me on that email. I didn't have a problem with it. And I think I will continue to keep it that way. And if you have a problem getting a hold of me, just give me a call. We don't have to use email.
I want everything recorded. I don't trust you.
Okay, well, don't send me nothing then. Don't talk to me.
Okay, we're not going to have a debate. Thank you.
And so far as rotation now, gentlemen, we did, let's be honest about it, in years past, we have always rotated the next person would go to chairman or you're the vice chairman. That has been what we've done for years, because even on my sick bed, you all had elected me chairman, and I rejected it after I got out of the hospital because I thought that the next person should take it. It's just some things we really need to work as a board this year to get along and to show love to one another, because it's a lot of animosity amongst us on the board, and it's not good. It's really not good. It's really not good, and we need to work to get this thing together and work together. And like I shared with Ms. Brabo, if she had got the third vote, I told her to poll the rest of the board members. If she got the third vote, I'd gladly make the nomination, but I was not going to do it if it didn't have a third vote. It was no use putting it out there like that. So I think she does a good job, and I think we need to look at some things she may have done in the past that we may not have liked, but we have to respect her for standing up as a strong supervisor in the community. Because I've said it before, she's a smart woman. Ms. Brabo, you're a smart lady. A lot of things you've done in the community, some of the people don't understand how you bring it about, but you're very aggressive with it. But again, tonight, I would only brought it up as I shared with you, and I was honest with the ladies that had emailed me, if you had a third vote, because it wouldn't make sense to bring it up if I know you couldn't get it. So that's all the report I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. First, Happy New Year to all. I welcome back to the board Jim Howard. He brings a great amount of experience and insight, and I'm happy to be working with him again. I look forward to serving our county for another year and continue to make King George the best it can be while maintaining our rural character and strong financial position as we face the new opportunities and challenges we'll confront. On the 6th of January, I attended the meeting of the Transition and Executive Committee of the Fredericksburg Regional Alliance. I want to thank the board for their faith in me to become chairman this year. The election process is one done by this board. It's for leadership positions, and you earn that. And the idea of rotation has, like Mr. Sisson has said, has not been around for several years. And the idea that it's automatic, I think, is wrong. My first term, I know we didn't have any rotation then, and we didn't during that whole 4 years. The way it worked out, given the way that board operated, and haven't seen that rotation that seems to be talked about like folklore. So I just think that it becomes a decision of the newly elected board, and again, it's newly elected board, and has to be done. And so we'll move ahead, and hopefully everybody will come together and work for the best interests of the county. And it takes everybody working together, and I hope to be able to do that with all of you. So with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Constitutional reports. Any constitutional officers, Sheriff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Two things to report. First, to address the 911 matter that Ms. Brabo called me about this afternoon. It's just a citizen awareness that when you do call 911 from a wireless device, whether it be a cell phone or a wireless phone system that they are converting some residential systems to, if you live on the border of a county or the state of Maryland, the potential the 911 call will not come to King George, but will go to Maryland, Stafford, Caroline County for an immediate call. But however, every of those 911 centers are equipped to immediately transfer. Certainly the protocol for answering the 911 call is 911, where is your emergency? And if you identify, certainly the citizens identify themselves in King George, Caroline, state of Maryland, Stafford will immediately dump that call back to the King George Center. Comes in on the administrative line. All it provides to you is the number that the caller is calling from. It does not provide a location. That location has to be done verbally. So that's just on a situation, unawareness. We had a gentleman that called. His call went to Maryland, and he was concerned that that had occurred. So, but we addressed that issue, and hopefully other citizens call will not be surprised by where it goes. But they can feel assured that it will be transferred, and help will be, and assistance will be sent. The reason I'm here tonight, one of the other reasons I'm here tonight, is the certainly, I just want to, make the board aware, the Attorney General's office, the State Attorney General's office, had in May 7th of 2012, had a federal case where there was a Medicaid fraud case, and they seized, as a result of forfeiture, a great deal of money. That money, Attorney General made a decision to distribute that among police agencies and sheriff's offices throughout the Commonwealth. King George was a recipient of $149,700. To get that money, we had to budget we chose 7 items that was not in the budget for purchase, and we have entered into an MOU with that amount of money, and with those 7 budgeted items, the financial director will be presenting that appropriation statement and for the board to approve the expenditure of that money next board meeting. So, but I felt it was important that we had already received the money. Some media had already was aware of the distribution of that money, and I felt that you need to know about us receiving and the amount that we received. Thank you very much.
That's great news. Thank you. County Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no report at this time, but pursuant to Mr. Sisson's question, if you will, I'll be happy to respond to that. There is nothing under state law that precludes the use of personal email addresses by board members for official communications or political communications. It is not precluded. It is permissible. There's nothing under state law that requires official county email addresses to be used for those sorts of communications. It may be advisable to use an official county email account, but it's not directed or required. Personal email accounts or accounts set up by individual board members for purposes of official communications or to receive governmental communications are subject to FOIA. The FOIA Advisory Council, as a part of the Commonwealth's Legislative Services Division, has issued advisory opinions to that effect. And in fact, the Virginia Supreme Court has issued an opinion that touches on that issue. So to the extent that those accounts are utilized for official communications and a FOIA request is received, directed at those accounts, or for information contained within those accounts, they are subject to FOIA. And that's clear under state law, and there's nothing that I'm aware of that would direct otherwise. Thank you very much. I hope that suffices.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Question. So there's nothing wrong with me using my email like I'm using it?
There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing under state law that directs you that's not permissible. It's perfectly fine. It may require some certain allowances and may be difficult in future if we were to get a FOIA request, but we'd have to work with you, and our IT department could work with you and to obtain whatever data was necessary to retrieve from that account, but it's perfectly permissible.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Moving on to 1-02, the issuance of warrants against the 2013-2014 Capital Improvements Fund.
I move we approve the issuance of warrants in the total amount of $140,207.73 against the FY 2013-2014 Capital Improvements Fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries. County Administrator.
Yes, sir. The next item, with Mr. Howard coming on board and Mr. Labulio leaving, there are some vacancies on some of the regional boards and committees that Mr. Labulio has served on. And also, if you want to make any other changes to various boards and committees. So I will bring that back to the board for your decisions regarding those matters.
So, Mr. Howard, have you gotten the time to review these committees and see any of what Mr. Labulio had that you might serve on?
Yeah, the jail board, not sure what other
Rappahannock Area on Aging.
I was going to ask if you'd consider serving on the George Washington Regional Commission,
Sure. Yeah, I've done
and
that.
I'd remove myself from that commission.
Yes.
Any other board members have changes?
The only thing I just simply wanted to offer out there as a suggestion, I know during the campaign, a number of Fairview Beach residents were inquiring as to why there's no representation from that district on the Potomac Watershed Roundtable. While I do not necessarily wish to give up my seat, I see Mr. Quisenberry as the alternate. I didn't know if Mr. Howard would wish to be the alternate, since there is a lot of discussion actually at the meetings with
Sure.
regards to.
Is that acceptable to you? Very acceptable. I'd be happy to do that.
You know, and as the alternate, you're also welcome to attend every meeting.
Thank
And the next meeting is Friday in Warrenton. If you'd like me to send you the details, I can.
I probably can't do that one, but that's okay.
Mhm.
But yes, send it to me, please. Thank you.
And that would leave us a vacancy on the Area Agency on Aging, if anybody's interested in doing that one.
When does that meet, Joe?
That's a daytime meeting, if I remember. I think it was an afternoon, noon, 1 o'clock kind of meeting, I believe.
Once a month?
Once a month, I think.
Jail board meets?
The jail board
Jail
is,
board meets sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly, but it's from noon to 2.
Okay, I'll do the area agency. Well, if no one else is,
that's fine.
okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so the changes will be Mr. Howard to George Washington Regional Commission.
Jail board.
I'm just gonna go down
Oh, I'm sorry.
in the order of the list so Marcy can catch all of them. And then on Potomac Watershed Roundtable, we'll change out Mr. Kusenberry and replace him with Mr. Howard. We'll replace Mr. Labuglio on the Rappahannock Area Aging with Mr. Howard. Rappahannock Jail Board will put Mr. Howard in place of Mr. Labuglio. And that, and reappoint Mr. Brooks to Social Services Board.
Chairman, I don't see it on here, but the Ralph Bunch Board, I know Mr. Labulio wanted to remain on that. I don't know if that can happen or not. But John had a great desire to continue to serve on the,
Well, I think he can probably be added as a citizen member if that's the way to do that, and then fill his seat if another board member, so we'd have 2 board members. I don't know if you'd be interested in serving on that.
yeah, Mr. Howard.
You or Mr. Howard?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd rather for Mr. Howard to do it.
Okay,
Ralph
I'll
Punch.
know him.
And that's an evening meeting.
Okay, let's do it.
And so we'll add Mr. Howard, and we'll leave Mr. Labuglio's citizen appointment to the commission, Ralph Bunch.
Yeah, what was the term of the citizen appointments? Is that just?
I don't
pleasure of
remember.
the board, or?
I think it was a pleasure of the board. And so we'll have to look at that and get back to that one, but
Just so we can just,
if Mr. Kusenberry could look into that
I'll
and
look
see
into
what
it
we
for
would
you.
need to do there.
we can take care of that.
So I'd entertain a motion for those changes.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, chair votes aye. Motion carries. County Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Guzika. My first item is the appointments to the Community Policy and Management Team, that's the CPMT. All of the current memberships has agreed to serve again, and the reappointment would be for 1-year term ending December the 31st.
Have a motion to that effect?
I'd move to reappoint and appoint the members of the Community Policy and Management Team that have been presented to us tonight.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, I included in your packet a letter that we received from Quentin Elliott regarding the 6-year improvement program for FY 2014 to 2019. Dave Brown will be at your next board meeting, and Dave can discuss this more if you have any questions. Dave will also talk about the project, turn lane projects on Route 206.
Great.
Also, at your next meeting, I would like for you to come with your calendars, and we need to set up some dates for work sessions. So hopefully you'll be able to set some dates at that meeting.
Just FYI, I did call Mr. Brown about the amount that was listed for King George County for our 6-year secondary road plan to clarify, was that additional money, or is that now the all-encompassing total dollar amount? And that is now the all-encompassing total dollar amount, so still can't really do much of anything.
Correct.
That's the
Yes.
169,000 talking about?
Yep. The next item I have, when Ms. Thompson was here, you had appointed her to the Bay Consortium Workforce Investment Board, and they're asking for a replacement. Mr. Thomas has agreed to do that. If the board is in agreement, I would like a motion to do that.
So moved.
Motion's been made and probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries.
And my last item, prior to the holidays, the Christmas, Margaret Ranson contacted Conrad Spangler and had him contact me. He's the Director of Mines, Minerals, and Energy for the state. And he's agreed to come to a board meeting and answer questions about permitting requirements associated with fracking, et cetera. So he may be able to attend the next board meeting.
I'd like to coordinate that, so we do that with the county attorney's findings from his review and have DMME here, and we could invite DEQ as well because they also have a role in that process.
So we'll coordinate that with the county attorney and everyone, and
then work with me to get it on the
work with you to
agenda.
get the agenda set for that.
Chairman, I think it'd be good if we had a countywide meeting on fracking to advise the people of what's going on. We had discussed about having something in Shiloh, just directly in Shiloh, but I think it'd be good if we had a countywide explanation of what fracking is all about.
Yeah, I think this will lead us to a point where we'll be able to do that. We'll have all the factual information from the permitting side and what's involved there, and then we'll know what our roles and responsibilities are and authorities under the Code of Virginia, based on Eric's review. And I think at that point in time we can determine whether we want to have a public meeting of sorts, to just have an open information and discussion meeting for the public.
Mr. Chairman, if I can help amplify that, I think that is important to get the county administrator's report on the state of our ordinance and what that provides us in terms of protection or permissions or however you want to view it, or relative to fracking. And I had coordinated with Margaret relative to getting the director of MM&E here, so, contingent upon the new chairman seeing that as being acceptable and the concurrence of the board. So I think getting that understanding the state's position and where we stand as a county on that topic is so important before we go forward and talking with the public. So
right, I think that all works.
Anything other than that, I think there's a lot of things flying around based on what's happened in Colorado or Pennsylvania or some other areas. Some of that I think is probably applicable. Some of it's probably not. And there's an engineering piece associated with this that's got to be discussed. And I think MM&E is the right folks to tell us what that is.
Right.
So just for clarification purposes, we had tentatively set it to be at the January 21st meeting. I'm kind of getting a sense that maybe it won't be.
Well, we're going to coordinate the schedules and try to get DEQ and make sure that DMME can make that meeting. And
we are
Eric,
still trying to
we're going to try to do
coordinate.
that, and we'll do the best we can given everybody's schedules. But
Okay.
but that's
Understanding they had blocked that date, but I don't know if that's still the case.
They have when I first talked to them, but they wanted to check back, depending on the board's interest in having them here at that meeting.
Yeah.
And then if I, just as a reminder from Mr. Cuevas, Department of Mines and Minerals, while they will provide a wealth of information that we do need, do keep in mind, it was the Department of Mines and Minerals that really gave a tremendous amount of pushback, almost to the point of disrespecting the Board of Supervisors, wanting to move forward with fracking with disregard for the concerns that Board of Supervisors had, which are very conservative gentlemen. So please just keep in mind that the mission of the Department of Mines and Minerals is to move fracking forward.
And Ms. Bravo, that's the piece that I want to make sure we all understand. We're going to get all of the information first before we go form an opinion. Because I haven't made an opinion on it yet. And so until I have the facts, I'm gonna not form a official opinion on where we are with that. And so then once we get that, then we can move forward as a consensus of the board where we are and what we want to do for the public meeting that we will have. The other thing I'd like to do is work with the county administrator to at least prepare a draft for this technical advisory committee charter, get it to you all so we can all get everybody's inputs on it, come up with something, and then in the next few meetings move that forward. Because I think it's a important area to look at and address. Again, from a factual basis and making sure we're all dealing from the same tabletop with all the facts on the table and get away from a lot of misinformation. So at this time, I'd be remiss if we didn't do this. Dale, you served us as chairman last year, and you did a remarkable job. You led us through a difficult budget season. You took us through a number of issues and challenges that we were faced with as we went through the year, as we always are. You did it in a professional and open manner, and we appreciate the time and effort you put into the chairmanship and representing us as a board in the most professional way. So I do want to at this time recognize you and provide you this token of our appreciation. So this is to Dale W. Sisson Jr. in appreciation of your dedication and hard work in serving as chairman of the King George County Board of Supervisors January 1st through December 31st, 2013, presented this day, January 7th, 2014. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say.
No, I just, you're right, it was a challenging year, as this one will be, as the one was before it. But you know, the chairman is just one member of the board. The vote's no more powerful than any others. You have the unique challenge of trying to ensure the conduct of the meeting while paying attention to the issues. This is my third time around, so it's a little bit. With practice, that becomes easier, but that's still quite a challenge. So I thank you for the comments of me last year, and thank you for the kind words relative to that. It was certainly my pleasure. It is a whole lot more work associated with that part of the board, but I did it with pleasure, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And at this time, I think we have a closed session. Mr. Howard.
Mr. Chairman, I move the King George County Board of Supervisors go into closed session pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3711A5 for the purpose of discussing a prospective business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the businesses or industry's interest in locating its facilities in the community. Invite the county administrator, county attorney, and economic development director.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're in closed session.
I move the King George County Board of Supervisors return to public session and certify that only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Mr. Sisson, do you certify?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Ms. Bravo?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
So certified.
Chair certifies. We're back in open session. Is there any other business to come before the board tonight?
Chairman, I would make a motion, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Just